Porpoise Pod coming at you as Tobin and Solana are coming at you after a victory over the Cleveland Browns. An absolute ass whooping, 39-17, which may have them on the cusp of first place. We are reacting live to Bills and Vikings as we're recording this. This has been a topsy-turvy back and forth between the division rival, but if Minnesota can pull this off somehow, with this game looking like it may be going overtime. Solana's a little ahead of me right now because I may be watching on some Swahili, pirate feed, and he is watching, an actual legitimate television. The Bills are trying to march down. They had an epic turnover by Josh Allen in the end zone to cough up the lead in this game. So we're paying attention to that, but mostly important, the Dolphins took care of business themselves today. They took out the Cleveland Browns in what was, I would say, Solana, their most complete game to date. They dominated every facet of this game. They absolutely killed Cleveland every way, up and down, run game, pass game, defense, turnover battle. I mean, really, the only thing you could say as a complaint today is the special teams for the Dolphins for the opening drive, kickoff return, and Jason Sanders forgetting that he needs to kick extra points. But other than that, pretty perfect game.
Yeah, this one is going to overtime, Tobin. I'm sorry, but the Bills kicker did not pull a Jason Sanders, and this one's going to overtime. But just look at the Dolphins' very first drive. So after kind of a collapse on that opening kickoff, like you mentioned, and then the Browns marching down the field, Jacoby Brissett looking pretty solid in that first drive. The Dolphins' response was maybe the most balanced offensive series I've seen from the Dolphins in, Tobin, you got to help me out here. 2 decades. Seriously,
I don't know, dude.
42 yards passing, 42 yards rushing. Jeff Wilson on that opening series, 33 yards on 3 carries. Tua with a little fakesies, gets the defender up in the air, gets around him, throws it to Alec Ingold. He gets his first receiving touchdown of the year. And you didn't even need Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle on that opening drive. It was just a thing of beauty, and it was kind of setting the tone for the rest of the game. This was all around, other than Jason Sanders, all around just the best Dolphins victory of the season, Tobin.
It was
7-3.
It was super complete. And it's funny, this is we have sung his praises all season, deservedly so. And you don't even know who I'm saying yet, but Mike McDaniel is a true guru, but this is gotta be the game he has always envisioned when he took this job, between the balance, the way the running game was, the guys that were involved. This was a Mike McDaniel guys game. Okay. It was Ingold, it was Jeff Wilson Jr., Mostert, and it was Sherfield. Those guys balled out today, and those are all Mike McDaniel guys. They all execute his system to perfection, and everybody's so scared now, the dynamic duo that is Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, understandably so. But this just shows you now, in a game where everybody says Tua is buoyed by his receivers, sure, they have the threat of them, but today, he did not rely on them time in and time out. He spread that ball around to everybody, spread the wealth. And Jeff Wilson Jr., dude, this guy runs with such a ferocity, such an anger to him. It's that to me is something that's really impressive. I love this guy. I don't know how Dolphin fans can't be already in love with what Jeff Wilson's bringing to the table.
Tobin, we've got a running game.
It's amazing, dude. He got the whole package.
Let's go.
Look at him, dude. He's lowering the shoulder. Then nobody wanted to tackle him. Everybody come in here. Chub. This chub. First of all, we know who the best one in the family tree was there today. It was Bradley. Okay, because the pass rush was unbelievable today. It was a force. Not having to get all gimmicky. This was 4 or 5 guys going and getting pressure on Jacoby Brissett, and the guy in Nick Chubb, who is, yes, arguably the best running back in the league. You wouldn't know it by watching today. The Dolphins, it was like a Landon Roberts set the tone early with that just amazing tackle on him. I thought the linebackers did a fantastic job today. Just a complete ass whooping, Solana. They manned him up, and it was great to see.
Yeah, man. Just so balanced. It really was. Like you mentioned, McDaniel's guys just showing off today. And I'm watching this game, and you're saying, wow, they finally got it together. And McDaniel told us, right, all season long regarding the running game, it'll come around. He's been saying that it'll come around. And I mean, you can't credit Chris Greer enough and Mike McDaniel for going out and getting his guy. But what a difference Jeff Wilson makes. Credit to Raheem Mostert as well. He didn't even get touched on that touchdown run he had, which was impressive as hell. But Jeff Wilson, after the Dolphins get the turnover on downs, the game was pretty much over there. But one play, they hand it off, and Jeff Wilson, the cut he makes on the defender to get around him, Tyreek Hill's hugging him at the 5-yard line before they even get into the end zone. I mean, if you had to draw up the perfect running and passing attack offensively for the Dolphins, the perfect situation, you got it today. You got it today. This was it right here. And Tobin, we talked about this 4-game stretch, maybe too much, right? Like maybe we've kind of talked about it a little bit, and it's been a little overblown. But we kept saying if you can get 3 of these 4, I mean that's huge. That's great. The Dolphins are going into their bye 7-3. You know, the Vikings, I hate them right now. There's a chance the Dolphins can be first place in the division, even if they're not. I mean, they're right there, neck and neck with Buffalo. They're putting the pressure on Buffalo now, and Josh Allen keeps trying to tackle dudes, and that injury isn't going anywhere. You have the Texans. There's a chance this team can be 8-3. I mean,
like,
bro,
dude, there's generally no team right now in this league I don't think they can hang with. If you told me they had Kansas City next week, I'm going to believe in the Dolphins, even if it's in KC. I guess the only question that's really remaining is like, what does this look like in the cold weather? And this is the type of game that gives you confidence in that, because you're not going to have to rely all on bombs down the field, bombs over the middle when they try and take stuff away. Like, that was the thing that was inspiring about today is, okay, we know that they were trying to take away Cheetah and Waddle over the middle deep. We know that weapon that was going to be Cleveland's great adjustment, and the Dolphins' plan B, plan C, everything worked. They were still able to execute, and a lot of that has to go to what Tua was able to do. He was so good in finding other options today, and just, I mean, like some of the crisp passes that he had today, just they were unbelievable, dude. Like the way he's able to just put it in spots where only his receivers can go get it. This is what Tyreek Hill was talking about when he's saying, like, this is the most accurate pass in the league. He has just such an ability to put it in a place where his receivers can go make the play and nobody else. And I think it was just a thing of beauty to watch. And this is a stat from Brett Bershizen from the Dolphins media relations department, tweets out, the Dolphins are now 14-1 in the last 15 games Tua has finished, 13-2 in the last games that he has started. I mean, that's amazing. And he got the MVP chance today.
Got the MVP chance, man.
Technically,
he got him.
Did he finish today's game? I mean, so what does that start? Because Skyler came in a mop-up duty. It's a very weird one for that stat. That's why I say that's been a weird stat for a while. I just say they're 14-1 in games where he has not almost died.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. And I loved your text. You texted me right towards the end of the game. I mean, the Browns got Skylered.
Dude.
And Skyler came out, got a completion. The Dolphins didn't punt today. The first time the Dolphins haven't punted in a game since 2003. I believe it's only the 5th time in franchise history that they go, what is it, 48 minutes, 60 minutes? How many minutes do we play again 60. In the NFL? 60. Yeah. 60 minutes, and they don't punt the football. And, you know, as much as we miss old Tommy Morstead, like, bro, you don't need him right now because this Dolphins offense can't be stopped. It's crazy, Tobin. It is crazy. 39 points. It's the 3rd straight game they put up 30 or more points. First time they do that since 2009 when they did it for 4 straight games. Like, just every game now we're getting to this point where all these stats offensively and all these records offensively the Dolphins are breaking that they haven't been able to do since they were a really good organization back in the early 2000s. And you're finally seeing it all come to fruition. 3 straight weeks. This is no longer, there's no longer that wiggle room for people to say, well, the Dolphins are benefiting from bad teams. And No. This was a good defense they went up against. The Browns' record, I don't think, is indicative of how good they are. And the Dolphins were able, other than that first drive, to totally shut them down running the football. And Teron Armstead and that offensive line, shout out to Teron Armstead, by the way, like had ice on his calf, said, hey, my vacation doesn't start till tomorrow, bruh. And he came back out there. Tua doesn't get touched. And another thing you mentioned about Tua, because at the end of the half, he was throwing darts. There was a 3rd and 7 out to Jalen Waddle that the cornerback, the DB is literally off his feet, full extension, and it just skates right by his fingertips, right into Waddle's hands.
Yep.
And then that touchdown pass to Sherfield was as impressive of a throw I've seen from Tua. But there was a play in the third quarter, Tobin, where it was a bad snap. Tua kind of like deflects it up to himself. He catches it and immediately just went down.
Just laid down. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And to me, it was what you had brought up to me, right? Where he's going to have to start showing that maturity of, hey, don't try to extend a play when it's just not there. That play, as it was maybe the worst play of scrimmages today from the Dolphins, to me showed the steps Tua's taken already, not just his ability to kind of, just take this offense down the field on every series, but also him understanding his value to this team.
Well, I think that's a great word for today's game for him. I just thought it was such a mature game from him because, I think maybe a guy even in the first 3 weeks of the season, maybe tries to force some things down the field and really like he just operated today like such a veteran surgeon, carving them up in every manner that they could. And I think a lot of that had to do with like, look, they didn't have a good place to attack the Dolphins in this game. They knew that they had to try and take away the Penguin and the Cheetah today. But other than that, what was going to be their answer? And so everybody else ate off of that. I think that was what was so impressive. And still, like, look, it's not like Tyreek and Jalen were ghosts. They still had big catches today, but it just wasn't like all of the monster numbers didn't go to them. It was very the wealth was spread all around, and Tua deservedly so. I was happy to see that the fan base gave him MVP chance today. Like this guy deserves that. He has been through a lot of crap. And you're starting to see, like we've talked about this, we've been on check with all the national narratives and the buzz around him. But, everybody's starting to kind of come around on this and answer for their crimes on the things that they said about this man. And some are still dopes, like Colin Cowherd, who said it's a half truth that he's great, dummy. You can't win them all. Some people will want to go down to the ship like a bunch of message board wackos, but that's okay. Colin doesn't have to, for whatever reason, the guy who went from his documentary to now just wants to cover every base of his opinion on Tua. He doesn't want to believe. That's fine. You know what? Those are the people who are just going to look like morons by this. But I just feel like he is growing into such a complete quarterback all over the place. This was just an absolute throttling the Dolphins put on them. And I got to think that Mike McDaniel go in that locker room today. I'm sure we'll get the speech either later tonight or tomorrow, but he's got to be in so many ways. He said he wanted this team to come into it and be going into the bye week with that 7-3 record. He has to be so thrilled with the all-around win today was.
If I would have told you coming into today's game that the Dolphins would put up 39 points and essentially rout the Browns, 39-17, I guess it's not really a rout, but they blew them out. Like this game wasn't that close in the second half. If I would have told you that they were able to do that, and Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill would only have 9 catches combined for 110 yards, you would have told me there's no way. Like it's impossible. There's no way that that's going to happen. And and even more so, if I would have told you that the Dolphins would rush for 195 yards between Mostert and Wilson, once again, you would have told me there's no way that like we haven't seen that team. So
I'm with you, man. And I think the thing that's also great about it is just like, we have seen so many times this year the complementary football back and forth, where like offense has been good for a pocket of the game, the defense has been good for a pocket of the game. They were good basically from the first time the Dolphins touched the football till the end of the game. Everybody just fed off of each other. The defense was great. That Zach Sealer, huge turnover. Finally getting the ball to Xavier Howard, getting that paw in there because he's a big old grizzly bear. Christian Wilkins was a monster today. He was chasing fools down. I really felt like that the line, Jerome Baker and Landon Roberts set the tone with how hard they were hitting today. And the pass rush looked great, dude. It was just all around. It was just a great performance from the Miami Dolphins. And I just don't know how we're going to have finally a week off here to kind of reset for the season. But this dude, I guess we could break it here and talk about this on the other side. But this team feels like as legitimate a contender as there is in the league. Maybe there's a couple teams with better records, but they feel like a threat everywhere, and they feel like they also feel like they're getting better. So I think that's the impressive thing about what today's win stood for them and why it was so important. But go ahead, man.
Oh no, I was just gonna say to your credit or to your point on the defense, like there's a couple guys, we can get to it on the other side as well, that deserve a ton of credit today because Keon Crossing goes out with an injury and in steps up Justin Bethel, who's really a special teams specialist. He's a flyer on the special teams, but he comes up and he just plays like he belongs in that position. Like there's so many guys that we can point to today. Maybe we'll hand out 17 game balls like Mike McDaniel's doing right now in the locker room the other side when we pop some bottlenoses. But I just kind of feel the exact same way you do, man. Like there's no team right now that scares me as a Dolphins fan.
We'll take a break on the Porpoise Pod. Swimming on after this. Porpoise Pod swimming on here. Dolphins 7-3 going into the bye week. Victorious. What was the Solana like? What is the atmosphere like? Were people partying today, man? Like, what was it? I saw some Browns fans there. It didn't feel like an overwhelming amount, but I know a lot of people travel down here. They like to come down here. But what was the Dolphin atmosphere like?
Yeah, the Browns fans showed out. There's no doubt. But so they passed out those like white towels today. There was like a white out, and it was also Veterans Day as well, obviously. So the crowd was wild. You mentioned the Tua MVP chants. We're kind of in like a box here in the booth, and you don't really get too much crowd atmosphere in the Miami booth. But
it's a very weird thing with that stadium, by the way.
It is, but you could hear the MVP chants clearly on the broadcast, clearly. So the atmosphere was crazy, and I saw you mentioned Brett from the Dolphins. A bunch of people tweeted this out. The Dolphins posted it. It was the most tickets they've sold to a game since they refurbished the stadium back in or renovated it back in 2015. Like I have it written down, 66,000.
They're doing like a college thing where they're just making up places to put people. I love that.
I guess so. They've got people up on the Hard Rock logos up here. They're just putting them anywhere.
It's an amazing thing, man. It really is. I think the town is buzzing right now. It really is. I don't know, man. I feel like this place is just alive. Like I was at the Tyreek Hill Family Foundation this week, and you just tell, like, getting to hobnob with a bunch of Dolphin fans who are there for the event. They're just so geeked up. They're so happy about what this team is bringing to the table, because so many years it's been about, yes, they're winning, but you don't really feel like the way they can go win, or it's like, some embarrassing scandal pops up, and all of this is just like, man, I look forward to having football every Sunday to just watch what they're going to do. I think that's the thing that's so great about it, is like, man, it feels very like Heat-esque. Like I'm just excited about every game. I'm just excited to watch the Dolphins. Yeah. Like, man, we're not going to have them for 2 weeks. I'm like, what am I going to do? I mean, my friends are going away.
Tobin, this was the game the Dolphins of old would have lost. This would have been the game, right? Everything's trending upwards, and you get a team that is pretty good, but they don't have their starting quarterback in Deshaun Watson. It's Jacoby Brissett, who you have a little bit of history with. I'd also like to talk about him doing a couple QB sneaks early on in the game. I mean, this stupid Jacoby Brissett really, really irked me with 2 quarterback sneaks. But then Zach Sealer and not up. Tobin, I was waiting.
I love him.
I tried to feed that to Cephalo, by the way, but he wasn't having it, unfortunately. I'm sorry, but he just wasn't having it. But this was the game that this team would lose, right? They'd come out and they'd put up a dud. They'd score 13 points. Their offense wouldn't produce, and you're kind of feeling like, oh no, like here we go again. And it's not happening. Like I keep in the back of my head, I keep waiting for it. I keep waiting for the game where we're gonna say, whoa, let's take a pause here. let's all settle down with the Super Bowl talks. Let's all settle down with the division talks and us going into Buffalo and beating them. Like, let's pump the brakes a little bit, but it's not happening. It's not. Like, they continue to show, as you mentioned, it's such a great point. Not only are they producing and they're doing it consistently, but they're improving week by week.
Well, that's the thing that was so great about the trade deadline and why you got to give it up to Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel, because obviously that's his guy that he brought in, and Jeff Wilson. But they saw two very big holes on this team that were not, and I think also two holes that weren't living up to potential, because I think everybody thought, man, this pass rush was going to be a lot better, and we thought that the run game, Mike McDaniel was going to make it happen, and they basically said, no, we can sure these. We know we have the scheme and we have the support system around that can make this good enough. And that, I think, was the impressive thing about what they did at the trade deadline, because, last week, both of those guys, they made nice little splashes. I felt like both of their impact was just huge today. They were monsters. And you mentioned Jacoby Brissett. Yeah, maybe he's one of the more hittable quarterbacks to go get. He's very slow, even though he was QB sneaking all over the place. I thought today that pressure was just doing such a tremendous job. Like, they were, except I gotta say, dude, what the hell is this with the roughing the passer? Like, Christian Wilkins can't. What is he supposed to? I want to know what Christian Wilkins is supposed to do in that place where Jacoby Brissett, he tackles him right through the sternum, and they go to, I don't know who it is, Gene Steratore. He goes, oh, he landed with all his weight on him. Dude, he's 300 pounds. What is he supposed to do? Tell me what he's supposed to do there. I just, like, how are they not allowed to football anymore? What is going on?
It's so dumb, because it's not like he picked him up and drove him into the ground. He's running full speed at Jacoby Brissett, who also is a big dude. He's also a big dude. So Wilkins can't, like, let up, because then he's going to get his ass knocked down. And when you're, 350 pounds, you can't allow a QB to take you out. So he's running full speed at him. He grabs him, as you said, right in, like, the torso area, and he takes him down. I thought it was a bogus penalty as well, but the guys up here in the booth kind of agreed that it was the right call. I didn't think so, but I'm going
to talk to Joe about that tomorrow. Say, hey, you're getting soft in your old age, man.
Yeah.
What do you mean that's a rough in the passer? What's he supposed to do? I mean, like, I don't understand it. He's a behemoth. He goes and hits the quarterback. There's a bunch of people around there. Is he supposed to just let him go by? It's just silly to me. I don't understand it.
By the way, speaking of penalties, Tobin, let's give it up for the Dolphins offense. No embarrassing procedure penalties today. No embarrassing ineligible man downfield penalties today. Like, that's kind of been plaguing this offense a little bit. It's kind of been looming over some of these victories. And obviously the win matters more than any of that. Those are things that you can kind of perfect as the season goes on, or patch up. And they did it today. Like, they deserve credit, because I've been tough on them all season, where I'm saying, what's going on here? Every week there's 4 or 5 of these penalties that are, to me, are embarrassing. Like, how can you line up incorrectly 3 times in a game? That doesn't make any sense to me. And today that didn't happen a single time.
I'm glad you mentioned the word embarrassing. Can I just say, as an aside, I'm so glad to have a coach with swag in Mike McDaniel, because this Kevin Stefanski, talk about a square. I mean, this is your outfit. Your outfit is generic white Browns t-shirt. His coaching getup looks like he caught that from, like, one of the parachutes they dropped from the rafters at AAA, which is what I'm calling it now, by the way. I'm back to it. It looks like a t-shirt gun, like a free t-shirt. Like, what? That's the t-shirt you choose, Stefanski? Like, did he think it was good? He probably thought he was going to be like the Bills, just sweltering in heat. He goes, what can I go with here? Oh, I know. A white t-shirt with the tiniest Cleveland Browns logo I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I'm so glad that guy's not my coach.
What, this guy go hit chest and then come straight to the stadium?
It's crazy. I'm like, that's your getup, Stefanski? Not a polo, not a windbreaker. You're going just a generic white Cleveland Browns t-shirt. Like, what the hell? Did you get, like, barbecue sauce on yours this morning? I don't understand. I'm like, there's no way that was the top choice that he could have gone with all the free clothes these guys are allowed to have. That's what he chooses. It's very,
I loved, so Travis Wingfield from the Miami Dolphins. Interception. Interception.
First place.
Is it over? Is it over? Confirm it. Hold on. Let's confirm before we celebrate.
I'm 3 minutes behind you. Pirate feed. Oh, this is very exciting.
Let's see.
Final.
Final.
First place Phins!
Final.
First place Phins! First place Phins!
First place Phins! Woo!
Wow.
Let's go.
That is exciting. It took a little longer than we hoped, but man, exciting.
Tobin,
I'm probably going to see it right now. Oh, wow.
Could you imagine what people would be saying about Tua Tagovailoa right now if he blew a double-digit lead, fumbled in his own end zone to allow the other team to get the lead with 33 seconds left, and then threw a pick in overtime to ice the game? What would people be saying? What would Colin Cowherd be saying about Tua Tagovailoa right now, Tobin? What would they be saying?
I don't know, but I'll tell you what I'm doing right now. Josh Allen, you're out of the MVP race, my friend. You're out, dude. Woo! You are out. You blow the game with a pick and you blow the game with a fumble in the end zone. Guess where you go? Back in the line, Josh Allen, with your sore elbow. Wow, dude. Amazing.
What a time. What a damn time to be alive, Tobin.
Wow.
Woo!
First place, back to first place. Oh, these stupid Bills fans. They thought we were never going to get back there either. They're sitting, oh, how's it down there? How's the weather down there? No. How's the weather down there, dummies? Is it too hot? Is it too hot, Buffalo? Josh Allen.
Kind of feel like doing a little Chris Forster action right now. I mean, that's how good I'm feeling. Hit me with the Chris Forster meme, baby. What a time, Tobin.
Wow.
What a time.
This is amazing, dude. I don't know what to do with my hands. This is crazy. I am shook.
I'll let you, if you want to end this early.
I'm gonna go take a cold shower or something like that. No, we got to let's pop some bottlenoses before we get out of here, dude.
Let's do it.
Who you got? Give me a couple of your top performers today.
Well, first of all, I just want to finish my thought. Travis Wingfield from the Miami Dolphins, he quote tweeted the shoes McDaniel was wearing, and he gave him a new nickname, which, I love McCoachin, Tobin. I have to give you credit for that, but McDrip on the Dolphins sideline.
Listen, McDrip is good. It also sounds like a sauce that goes on the McRib. It sounds delicious.
Yeah. Yeah, the McDrip. And I'm going to give I'll pop two bottle noses. I'm going to give the first one, I mentioned him, Justin Bethel. Dude stepped up. Keon Crossen goes out. Dolphins are depleted in the cornerback room already. And he comes in. I'm not going to say he made, the biggest difference in the game, but there was a couple key plays that he made when the Browns still kind of had a chance to work themselves back in the game a little bit. And he came up with a big deflection, and then he came up with a big tackle to, I believe, force a fourth down, which they ended up turnover on downs. So to me, Justin Bethel deserves some bottlenose to be popped for him.
Let's see, man. I could go so many directions here. I'm gonna go Jeff Wilson Jr. Popping bottlenoses for him. What a game. I thought he set the tone. Two guys I thought really set the tone for this game, Landon Roberts and Jeff Wilson. I thought that they just brought such a physicality. This is a Dolphins team I think is known for speed, being dynamic, explosive. I just thought that they really brought the hurt to Cleveland, who's known as a very physical team. You think about Nick Chubb, Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney, all of the fierce, scary guys they have on that team. And look, the Dolphins gave a lot of respect to them coming into this week. Mike McDaniel said they are no joke. We feel they could beat anybody on any week. And he goes, and truly you cannot say that about other teams. He goes, I know that could be a throwaway cliche. He made the point. You cannot really say that about a lot of teams. They could beat any team. And I just thought that tone they set with physicality early on, that was brought especially by Jeff Wilson. It felt like every time he touched the football, it was for 12 yards. So what a game by him. He is, I think, going to become a quick fan favorite down here.
You know what? There's already a 23 hanging in the AAA Raptors, the Heat Arena Raptors. Change that colorway to aqua and orange.
Yes.
Bleep MJ. Let's give number 23 up there to Jeff Wilson. That's how good of a game he had today, and that's how I'm feeling about J-Dub. I mean, what a damn game from him.
He is awesome. I loved everything that he brought to the table today. You want to pop some bottlenose for somebody else?
Yeah, I mean, are we not going to even talk about Tua?
Tua,
Because
dude, come on.
I love him so
I love him
much.
so much. When they go to the
285 today.
wow,
285, 25 of 32, 3 touchdowns. His QB rating was excellent again, 135. And it almost seemed effortless from Tua. And we talked about how he showed maturity, just throwing some darts, bro. Like just Dilfer dimes all over the field. And he deserves it. Like it's almost gotten to the point now, 3 straight weeks here, we're almost taking him for granted because we almost expect it, but he's taken his game to another level. And anybody who's denying that he's playing as an elite quarterback right now, I'm not gonna have the argument yet that he's top 3 quarterback in the NFL. We'll have that argument at the end of the season. But right now, this season, he is playing like an elite quarterback, and you can't deny it. If you want to deny it, you're brain dead.
it's stupid. Yeah. Any other argument? If you're saying that, if you want to make any other caveat for him other than hey, he's good, you're just you're just an ingrate and a dummy. He's good at football. He's been good at football. He now has better support system to make him elite at football, and he looks every bit an MVP candidate today. And I think that I was even we talked about this last week about is it Tyreek Hill, is it Tua, because Tyreek's just been that dynamic, and Tyreek was still good today, like still showing up with a touchdown. What did we think of a Tyreek Hill's celebration where he played dead?
He told Hawk and Crowder because they asked him about his what was it that
the backspring round off,
the back handspring, whatever. I totally pulled that one out of my ass last week, so I can't even remember what I said. But he told us he's got some stuff planned. Like he's like, that was just the appetizer. Get ready. And what did he do? He played dead. I couldn't even see it because there were so many guys around him.
He looked woozy, and then he laid down, and then I don't know who it was who came and revived him, but one of the linemen came over and they pumped his chest, and then all of a sudden he was back. So thank God. It was a medical emergency there for a second. I tried to go to, by the way, I was at the Tyreek Hill Family Foundation with the MCs. I tried to goad him into a Super Bowl prediction. That was like my last question, because we were doing some. He's doing it for a great cause. He was raising money for Nicholas Children's Hospital for their mental wellness program for youth. So awesome job by Tyreek. Shout out to the Tyreek Hill Family Foundation. But so they were like, oh, you could ask one fun football one at the end. So I just basically wanted to do like the cheap pop where I see if I can get him to do a Super Bowl prediction. And I could see it in his eyes he wanted to, but he goes, what? Because he double take my question. I'm like, I'm very right next to you. There's no way you didn't hear what I just said. I was like, hey, what do you think? What's the farthest this team can go? What's their ceiling, Tyreek? And what'd you say? What's their ceiling? And he kind of smiles. He goes, we're just going to take care of Cleveland this week. I'm like, damn it. Oh, I was like, I could see you wanted to. I could see he wanted to do the Tyreek Hill thing where he was just going to take it over the top. But whatever. He did it today. They did it today. They were amazing. Yeah. So shout out to Tua. He's awesome. I love him.
Best way to go into a bye week, Tobin. 4-game winning streak.
Yep.
Take care of the Browns. Another impressive performance. And I know we'll porp a little bit during the bye week, but seriously, man, props to this team, top to bottom, Chris Greer all the way down. Other than Jason Sanders, no props to Jason Sanders.
Dude, what's going on with him? I thought for sure he was going to miss that field goal too. I was like, did that go through? I was checking. I was double checking with myself. I don't know. I don't believe any kick is going to go in from him now.
He's approached just pure Bumsky zone right now. He can't do anything. He's in his own head.
Yeah, I don't. You know what? We'll save it for another. We'll save it for later in the week for things we're worried about. We'll do that pod, but this isn't that pod. This is the First Place Phins pod. Okay,
that's right.
That's what this is.
First Place Phins. Josh Allen's a bum.
Get him out of the MVP race. He's out. We're throwing Tua. Call your bouncers over. Get that cretin out of your MVP club.
Pa fuera.
We'll talk to you guys next time on the Porpoise Pod. Enjoy this one, Dolphins.